Now, before we do that, a little later in the same episode, there is a scene between Major Briggs and Margaret Lanterman, a meeting of two sages of the White Lodge at the Double R Diner. And this strikes me as a scene which lends some balance from the previous one with the creamed corn. In other words, we've gone from two enabling spirits from presumably the Black Lodge, and now a scene with two light workers operating through the White Lodge. These two light workers in Twin Peaks, which are listening, Briggs, and watching, Lanterman, are going, they're listening and watching what's going on all around the town. They're aware that the owls or entities of the Black Lodge are waiting and watching from the darkness, observing from the outside in. The log lady begins, and that has something to do with this compulsion of possession with that Bob has. The log lady begins the dialogue with Major Briggs by commenting, I love this line. She says, "You wear shiny objects on your chest." She then asks Major Briggs if he is proud, to which he replies, "No, achievement is its own reward. Pride obscures it." These are clearly, this is a conversation between two ascendant Zen masters here, which begs the question, of course, why is Major Briggs wearing the ribbons or is in uniform at all if he is indeed an ascendant being? It seems a contradiction to have an enlightened character associated with an institution that has a monopoly on violence, such as the United States Air Force. To me, it seems the unconscious messages conveyed through Major Garland Briggs transcend his specific life situation altogether, which is a very important message and theme to be found in Twin Peaks. There's this razor's edge between military and spiritual discipline or of life and death that seems to be unconsciously at work with this character. And Garland Briggs, with both feet planted firmly in the greater good of humanity, faces evil, not with the foolish intention of ever completely destroying it, as he knows such a notion defies the very laws of the universe, but instead is the unsung hero of Twin Peaks, courageously willing to face down the entities of the Black Lodge, even sacrificing himself in service to others should the need arise. There is a certain force of protection embodied by Garland and Margaret alike, which is in stark contrast to their seemingly self-serving arch rivals of the Black Lodge from the previous scene. So I'm comparing Garland and Margaret to what you would, because the very next scene, before this scene, we have that scene with the Garmin Bozia with the cream corn, Mrs. Chalfant and her, or Mrs. Garmin and her grandson, which they seem like they're on the other side of the spectrum, and then the next scene is these two, which are obviously light workers from the White Lodge. Now, Margaret translates on behalf of the log during her conversation with Major Briggs. She instructs the Major to deliver the message, adding, "Do you understand?" To which Major Briggs replies, "Yes, ma'am. As a matter of fact, I do." It seems that the log lady possesses an expanded awareness that is even beyond an expanded consciousness beyond that of what Major Briggs and his intelligence operation can achieve, which is yet another unconscious message of the intellect as the servant of the intuition, a message that can be found again and again in the story. Now, shortly afterward, Major Briggs delivers this message to Agent Cooper. His listening station having picked up some very strange activity around the time Coop was shot in his room, which infers the work of certain supernatural forces, presumably attempting to hinder the investigation into Laura Palmer's murder. Of course, it's probably even larger than that. Of course, as Major Briggs understands all too well, neither the forces for good nor the forces for evil will ever achieve total victory, as such a notion flies in the face of the universal laws of existence. Now, most of the time, such laws operate in seemingly mysterious and occulted ways in terms of this balance of good and evil, or at least our perception of the balance of good and evil. But upon certain brief instances, the path becomes clear, if only for a short time, as the Major demonstrates for Agent Cooper with the messages on the printout. The owls are not what they seem is the primary message, as well as the name Cooper appearing repeatedly on the sheet of computer paper. Now, Dale is an outsider in this place and seems as if he is being communicated to directly about the true nature of Twin Peaks. It's almost as if Cooper has come to this peculiar town and has entered a vortex where the forces of good and evil are in a sort of strange, energetic whirlpool, an anomalous region of reality where a passage exists between two worlds, with Agent Cooper unwittingly caught in the middle under the auspices of investigating a murder. A place where, Twin Peaks is perhaps this place where both allies and enemies alike are vying for his attention. And strangely enough, or perhaps not strange at all, it seems when Cooper goes to sleep, that's always when things seem to be, there seems to be a peak periods of activity of both the supernatural and events rapidly unfolding in Twin Peaks. It always seems to be in times when Cooper is unconscious that some of these really important events occur. And in some strange way, it seems as if Bob is most active, and the level of chaos really ramps up significantly any time Cooper is unconscious. Upon regaining consciousness in episode 1 of season 2, after he was shot, Lucy recounts an astounding laundry list of events which occurred while Agent Cooper was incapacitated. Remember, she tells him Leo Johnson was shot, Jacques Renault was strangled, the Packard sawmill burned down, Catherine Martell and Josie Packard go missing, and Nadine is in a coma. And then in episode 2, while Dale is asleep having a vision seemingly induced by the giant, Maddie Ferguson in the very next scene has a disturbing vision of Bob coming at her. Not to mention that, of course, Audrey Horne finds herself in great peril until Agent Cooper is able to direct his conscious attention on the lost note she left for him on the floor.